Hello, everyone, and thank you, David, for inviting me and allowing me to talk a little bit about dissenters with you all. I'm going to put some things into perspective before I start discussing what dissenters is about and what we're doing at American University. Being at the heart of DC at this prestigious institution for the last 3 years has ironically taught me a lot about the nation state we're so proudly named after. As we sit and learn on stolen Nakantak, Anacostan, and Piscataway territory, I recognize this country as a 500-year-long colonial project, a project forged in white supremacy, grounded in exploitative racial capitalism, and mobilized through relentless oppression. A colonial project whose function relies on a combative otherization that promises a persistent enemy, the antithesis of the white, the wealthy, the capitalist, to be fought, controlled, and won over in the name of imperialist objectives. This includes indigenous peoples who were slaughtered in the name of colonial expansion, the Black folks whose enslavement promised persistent capitalist exploitation, and Arabs villainized in an effort to maintain control of oil and other resources abroad. It is it is a colonial project generating a false white supremacist illusion, an enthusiastic oblivion which obscures this reality of exploitation and promises comfort to those that contribute to the order of the system. These people become willing agents of the state, reiterating American patriotic rhetoric or serving as the armed militia which both line the streets to disappear Black and Brown communities and storm the Capitol at the president's convenience, who rely upon and defend this colonial project to maintain their state sanctioned supremacy. Those willing agents, and especially the hegemony they serve, will continue to line their pockets from our suffering, benefiting as industries grow from our poverty and exploitation, profiting from fueling wars on our streets and abroad to maintain unlicensed access to endless resources, to extract free labor, and to gain monetarily from industries like the weapons manufacturers, which rely on this turmoil to expand. We strive to demolish this colonial project, this supremacy, and this hierarchy. We strive to realize a vision that encourages not power over, but power with. A vision in which we collectively contribute to the creation of systems that work for all of us. This is why I've joined Dissenters, a national grassroots organization working to turn the tide against war by educating our youth about the threat of the military industrial complex and how war and militarism impact their everyday lives. Emphasizing the destruction from war on a global scale, Dissenter stresses the inevitable connectedness between militarism, police violence, racism, poverty, climate change, and other phenomena that persistently threatens global societies while perpetuating violence against marginalized communities at home, like the Black and Brown, Indigenous, and other impoverished communities. Overall, our goal is to reclaim resources and funding persistently given to war making industries like weapons manufacturers and profiteers, and to redirect those resources to our communities as well as life giving institutions like our education system. The Divest from Death campaign ultimately embodies this latter mission of dissenters, asking youth to urge their school boards to divest in wealth, research, and overall support from any war industry they may have stakes in. With this campaign, we hope that major educational institutions stop funding and researching for the war industry, and that this can increase the stigma of war for our generation. At American University specifically, our first goal within this divestment campaign is to remove Wes Bush, former CEO of Northrop Grumman, from our board of trustees. I'm sure you're all aware that Northrop Grumman is one of five major weapons manufacturing companies in the world. During his time there, he oversaw the mass creation of B 2 bombers, F 35s, and other lethal weapons and technology used to assault and destroy populations all over the world, including within Palestine. West Bush has made a career profiting from war, and he does not represent students at American University, nor does he reflect American University's stated values and initiatives. As members of the AU community, we urge you all to join our call for the board to remove war profiteer West Bush from his position and encourage him to resign. As AU proudly advertises being an institution with a reputation for creating meaningful change in the world, and where leaders of today train the leaders of tomorrow, Appointing someone like Bush to a leadership position is in deep contradiction with these stated values. It is the responsibility of those in leadership at AU to take immediate action on this issue. I'm going to place a few links in the chat for you all. This letter will let our administration know that we want no ties with war criminals, warmongers, and profiteers feeding on death and destruction for wealth. I encourage you all, students and professors, AU affiliated or not, to sign this letter. And if there are any students that are interested in organizing with us, please fill out our interest form. We hope that in the future, American University not only has a board which most accurately demonstrates the interests of our student body, but that the conduct that each board member portrays has dignity and morality which reflects American University. Thank you so much. I'll paste everything in the chat